How I made modular road tiles for my Fallout inspired Warhammer 40,000 board. Hi there and welcome to Goodness Scenery, and in this video I'm going to be showing you exactly how I made all of the different tile types you're seeing in front of you here, or the road ones anyway. So there's going to be the corner ones like the ones you're seeing here, there'll be the T-junction, which is this one coming up there, and then the straight ones as well. So I'm going to be showing you the broken ones and ones which are just nice and plain and simple, but all of them are relatively easy to make, I think. So for the straight one, to begin, we're going to take a 30cm tile and you're going to cut it into 10cm strips. I use my hot wire cutter, but you could just simply use a sharp knife, and that's the basic construction done for that one. If you want to do a more broken one, then you can cut a strip off, which is going to be difficult with a knife, easier with a hot wire cutter. The tops of all of the rows in this are simply spray painted black with this cheap black spray paint at various different distances. It will melt it, but I've decided that's a good thing because it's going to create a completely random broken texture on the surface. Now for the pavement parts of it, it's exactly the same as you might have seen in part 2. So you're going to scrape across in one direction using a wire brush, and then you're going to roll over the top with tinfoil. Now in terms of the kind of construction of it, that is it. You will have to add some lines on as well to match up with the rest of it, but those are very simple to do. All it's going to take is just to measure out a 10cm length in on each edge and on each side, and then making those all meet up so that you have lines going across. Now, if this may not make any sense, but if you've seen the other part, then you'll understand why this is done. It's because it all kind of makes it join up nicely with the other tiles. From there, you can take a biro, and this is entirely optional, but you can add some cracks and damage just by drawing them on with a biro. Not a huge amount of pressure required, just draw something on and it will probably look half decent. Now for the top of the road, I bought some of these yellow marker pen and a white marker pen. I'll put a link in the description below for if you want to buy one of those, but they are absolutely perfect for drawing on the road markings. So just draw a line down each side for the same distance in, and then kind of a dashed white line down the center. Now for the concrete on the pavements, it's exactly the same as in part 2, is just giving a creamy undercoat first of all. So this was done on all of the pieces. I'm not going to be showing this in the other parts of the video later on because it's exactly the same thing, but just covering over. Now you actually try to get into all of the cracks and nooks and crannies with this colour. From there, once that's dried, you see it kind of goes much browner because of the darkness of the foam. After that has dried, you're going to be putting on this grey base coat, which looks browner in this light, but yeah, just grey, and you're not trying to get into the nooks and crannies, you're just going over it. And you can see here, this is the dry brushing phase, but you can see here that the brown kind of shows through on the lower levels and the greys on top. But this is just dry brushing quite heavily in white to bring up all of the details that you put in by having the foam rolled and by doing the cracks, and that's what it ends up looking like. And that's basically that's a very normal straight road piece done, but I decided I wanted to do a kind of a broken one as well. So I literally just grabbed the strip and just snapped it in a few places. Now, I was a bit nervous about doing this, to be perfectly honest. I spent a bit of time doing it, and I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out, but eventually I just went, you know what, I'm just going to break it. So that's what I did. Because the thing is that being Fallout inspired, a lot of the roads are all over the place. So I thought, I need to have something that's similar, but it still need to match up on the ends. Now, in order to provide a bit of support for the broken bits of road, I just took random bits of foam and just put them in a few different places, and then just took some time sticking down the edges of all of the broken road pieces to the edges, as well as being, if they were resting on a bit of foam in the middle, just making sure that they were attached to that as well. So nothing particularly complicated here, just using a hot glue gun and sticking the bits down, just making sure that they don't kind of overlap the edges, because if they did, then it's not going to match up with the rest of the tile. So yeah, nothing particularly complicated here, and I think it ends up looking quite decent because it just looks like a broken bit of road in my opinion. Once I'd glued that down, I took the edges or the pavement pieces and saw where the cracks matched up and just did a little bit of extra damage. And then it was a case of just hot gluing the two pavement sides to the road piece. and then that formed this one solid piece, which was later then glued down to a base. So nothing difficult here, just a line of hot glue. I mean, arguably, you don't even need to glue them together because they're going to get stuck to a base anyway, but I decided, just for completeness, that I would, and that was the end of the straight one. Now, the T-junction is a similar thing, so you're going to start by just measuring 10 centimeters in from each edge, and on one side you're going to draw a line all the way through. Another one, you're going to go 10 centimeters down, miss 10 centimeters, and then do 10 centimeters again. I mean, it's not particularly difficult to draw yourself a T with these measurements, but essentially you've got a 10 centimeter strip down one side and then 10 centimeter squares in the corner. And then just using a hot wire cutter, you can just cut those out, or you could use a knife, and that's the pieces that you end up. So that long bit, two 10 centimeter squares, and your T. And we're going to do exactly the same thing with the concrete, so I'm not going to go into a huge amount of depth for this, just showing you that that is what I did. So that's what it looks like once you finish with that. And then you go through the paint job, and that's what it looks like there. Then I drew on the road markings. Now, to be honest, this is something I should have done a bit differently, but I didn't. And maybe I should have looked up better what road markings look like, but hey, this is what I ended up doing. So drawing a line that's down each edge and going, oh, this is probably what a T-junction looked like. I don't think it matters too much. I think no one particularly cares, at least to all me. So this is what it ended up looking like. And according to this line I just put here, it is driving on the left-hand side of the road, which will infuriate most of the world. But I'm in the UK, so I don't care. And then just finishing off the dash lines here as well. And I think it ended up looking fine, although I did end up covering with a bit of flock later on. But you see that one matches up perfectly with the one that I'd just done. And finally onto the corner. So again, I'm measuring 10 centimeters in from each edge on one side, and then on an adjacent edge doing the same. Now, on future ones, I used a compass for this. If you don't have a compass or you just want to do something really quick, you can use pan lids like I did here. I recommend if you do have a compass, then you use a compass, because the ones I did with a compass ended up looking a lot better. But I drew a straight line in from the edge and then curved it off with the pot lid, so it doesn't have a parallel feel to it, this corner, which doesn't bother me that much. But if you want it to be parallel, use a compass and it will give you a parallel one. Now you'll see that on the other tiles. But yeah, just simply cutting those pieces out, doing the concrete thing again, as you can see here. Once again, exactly the same as the previous one, as well as spray painting the road just like the other one, and then marking out the grid thing on that. So once again, that's just 10 centimeter sections, drawing lines on, and then adding any damage that you want to add onto it if you want to. But that is the construction part of it complete. Yeah, you can see just me adding some cracks on, just because it's kind of quite nice, and you can cut bits out with a knife as well, just to add some further damage. And you can use a bit of tinfoil just to kind of roll that and make it look a bit more, worn, shall we say. But essentially, that's the construction part done. Now, this is something which when I say perhaps, I mean definitely should have done differently, but I didn't. So I did this straight for a bit, and then I free-handed it, and I'm not the greatest freehand person. It went okay, but it definitely could have gone better, particularly the central line. But I think I ended up covering this in a bit of flock anyway, because I wasn't very happy with it. And that's the beauty of covering stuff with flock, is that you can just hide your mistakes. So yeah, no apparent reason, decided to freehand this. Like I said, with the other ones, I used a compass to find the center of the road, and then just gently did it with a pencil first, and then went over it with the white line marker. But it looks okay, not good, not terrible. And then finally, once you've kind of stuck all these together, you notice this one has got flock on it now. I haven't included that because I'm going to do a different video on adding damage and stuff. But yeah, once you've made it, you can just glue it down with instant nails onto a 30 centimeter MDF board, make sure it doesn't overlap, and that is how they are done. So that concludes this video on how to make modular road tiles. Hope you've enjoyed it. There's more coming. Every single thing on the board you will see a tutorial on. Next up is probably going to be the river tiles, which are not particularly featured on this board, but for now you can just enjoy the road ones. Leave any comments, and I look forward to showing another video soon.